The game of football is filled with some pretty crazy injuries. Football players are pushed to their absolute limits, leading to horrific injuries that can put them out for days, weeks, or even more than a month. Maybe you've seen some of them on the news or heard about them from someone who used to play pro football. But before getting into our video, make sure to smack that subscribe button right now and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any exciting update from the channel. So, here are the 10 weirdest injuries in football history. 1. Schick Brodie. The goalkeeper's career was over when he got hurt weirdly. The stories on this list are funny and weird, but this one takes it to a whole new level. We can't even think a dog can hurt a football player on the field during an official match, but that really did happen. It happened in October 1970 during a game between Brentford and Colchester. Schick Brodie was in the goal for Brentford when he ran into a dog on the field and broke his knee. Many people couldn't believe what they saw. The goalie's career came to an end because of the injury. That's really stressful. When he was asked about the incident, Brodie said, "The dog may have been small, but it just happened to be solid." Of course, Brodie, you are absolutely right. 2. Alan Wright. Not everyone can drive a Ferrari. Alan Wright had a fantastic career at Aston Villa. Over the course of 4 years, he was played 307 times in all games and scored 5 goals and even 4 assists. Even though his professional life had many great moments, he will always be known for one story in particular. Any guesses? Yes, many of you guessed it right. He hurt himself in the most weirdest ways possible. When he purchased a high-end Ferrari, Wright got a lot of attention, but the vehicle would eventually give him a lot of trouble and keep him out of action for a few weeks. Ha! A long period though. The player injured his knee when he tried to reach his gas pedal. Even though it was odd and hilarious, it didn't shock many people. You know why? At the moment, the defender was only 5'4", making him one of the relatively short Premier League players at the time. 3. Frenkie de Jong. Last year, Frenkie de Jong played against Napoli with a band-aid on his hand. It wasn't a broken bone, just a bee sting. When Frenkie de Jong moved from Ajax to Camp Nou in the summer of 2019, Barcelona fans were really happy. The fans watched the player's mesmerizing game on the field until they got a reason to stare at his hand. In the second leg of the round of the 16 matches between Barcelona and Napoli in 2020, the Dutch player played with a bandage on his hand. Eventually, it was revealed that de Jong had been stung by a bee. His hand got so bad that he had to wear a bandage. Terrible, right? 4. Paulo Diogo. Paulo Diogo broke and lost half of his finger in a way that could have been avoided easily. What did I just hear? Here is the scariest thing on the list. Paulo Diogo's story will show other football players that it's not a good idea to run around and start celebrating when your team scores a goal by going outside the playing area. Definitely not a good idea. After passing the ball to fellow player who scored an empty net, Diogo was so happy that he decided to go even further. The midfielder chose to jump onto the metal fence, but his wedding ring got caught on the end and tore off half of his finger. To add insult to injury, the referee also gave the Swiss international a yellow card for celebrating too much. Diogo made 2 mistakes that could have been avoided in just a few seconds. He cut off half of his finger and the official wrote down his name. Damn it. 5. Adam Chapman. Adam Chapman had to rush to the hospital because he burned his chest while making milk for his baby. This only occurs when you've got a baby, particularly if you try to be a great dad without being careful. Adam Chapman, who used to play for Oxford, got hurt in one of the craziest ways possible while he was on loan at Mansfield. The midfielder was doing something normal, like heating milk for his baby. When he tried to shake it, the lid went up off and burned his chest. He had to go to the hospital, but he was allowed to play the next day again. Thank God he was not deeply injured. 6. Rio Ferdinand. How many of you hurt yourself because you played PlayStation for too long? You're not the only one. This is just tough to believe. Rio Ferdinand, who used to play center back for Manchester United, hurt the tendons in his knees because he was playing video games on his PlayStation for so long. During that time, the defender had a large number of back injuries, and the best thing to do for that kind of injury was to get a lot of rest. At the time, it seemed like Ferdinand didn't know he would make a decent career, so he decided to test his fortune in FIFA. 7. Dave Besant. Dave Besant is the next football player who got injured in a funny way that will make you laugh hard. One has to wonder what was going through Dave Besant's mind. During his time as goalie at Chelsea, the goalie hurt his foot in perhaps the craziest ways ever. The Brit dropped a bottle of salad dressing in the cooking area, which he attempted to handle with his bare foot. In the final moment, the bottle broke and tore a tendon in his foot, which kept him from playing football for 2 months. Now that's very sad. How could he use his foot since his hands were doing absolutely nothing? Point to ponder. 8. David Batty, the midfielder, had been hurt before, but this time he went a mile far. This one stands out from the rest because it's funny and stupid. After hurting his Lee ligament, Batty was at home for a while. However, things got terrible when his 2-year-old daughter started running over his ankle with her tricycle, which made his healing time longer. Can you just imagine the scene and his pain? Still, no one knows how it happened. Obviously, it would have been hard for the midfielder to describe to his team how a 2-year-old girl injured his ankle. Most likely, they would have made sarcasm out of it. Well, that's obvious. 9. Leroy Lita. How could a football player get injured in bed? Can you believe this? This is the dumbest thing ever. Leroy Lita, who used to play for Reading, hurt his back by trying to stretch too much on his bed rather than on the field or in practice. Many football players couldn't believe it after hearing the story, but his manager, Steve Koppel, stepped in to defend him so the scenario wouldn't be made fun of. Ah, Steve Koppel, you real-life hero. Steve Koppel, who was the manager of Reading at the time, said this about the injury. Leroy Lita is in a great deal of pain. It's not an injury that should be ridiculed or made light of. This is the most unusual injury on the list. We don't know if there'll be another that is even stranger than this one. If you have any in mind, do let me know in the comments below. 10. Alex Stepney. This is among the strangest injuries ever seen in the game. Goalies are known to be loud on the field because they must tell the defenders what to do. But Alex Stepney seems to have taken it too deeply. He paid for it in a 1975 match against Birmingham. He just broke his jaw while giving orders to his own team members. He got hurt and had to be carried off the field right away to get medical treatment. Believe me or not, that's the fact. These are the top 10 weirdest injuries in football history. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I did. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe when you're finished watching. Bye-bye. Until next time, cheers.